But I want to go to our guests here today, and I'm pleased to have with us, and these are one of our partners that have come to our Bridging the Gap, and believe me, if they weren't around, you probably could not get around town. So I believe they're very important. As one of my guests here, Andrew, knows that I use VIA, so I definitely know what it's about and how convenient it is, you know, especially with the way everything is with, you know, the economy and the gas, especially the gas. And so it's very convenient for me because I probably about 2 blocks from my house, I get on the Primo, the 100, as a matter of fact, no, 103, and drops me off right here, like 2 blocks, well, actually a block from where I work. So it's very convenient. So I want to welcome today Priscilla Ingle. She is the Vice President for VIA Customer Relations and Sales. Also with me, I have Andrew Guajardo. Andrew, thank you for being here, and Priscilla, thank you for being here. Say hello to the people that are listening right now.
Everybody.
Hello, everybody. We're glad to be here.
Well, thank you. Again, like I said, we're talking about VIA, and some of you that maybe are listening are probably maybe use VIA. Again, I come back to every time that I have individuals here, you think, well, they only do this, but then you get talking, you get conversing, and you realize, well, no, we also do this, or we also have this available. And it's a great way to be able to know what type of resources or services, other than what we think they provide, once we get to know that they offer more, because if we don't know about them, then we can't use them, right? Or we can't be able to utilize them for our benefit. So this is why they're here. They want to share a couple of things with our listeners, with the city. And please let us know, what is it exactly that you do, wherever you want to start.
Sure. Again, my name is Priscilla Ingle, and Andrew's here with me. And I've been with the company 36 years. Started as a community relations manager and then worked up the management ladder to vice president. Andrew is our manager of sales and rideshare administration. Mm-hmm. So we do have a number of programs that are available to the community who want to use our public transit system, and we spend a lot of time encouraging individuals to become our customers, to try the service out, and then of course we're always out in the community trying to remind our customers of the types of services that we offer for regular riders, students, older citizens here in this community, persons with disabilities, and employers and nonprofit organizations as well.
Right. Again, we have nonprofits in our Bridging the Gap networking that we have every 2 weeks. Of course, we always have different network nonprofits, businesses, anybody that can benefit from it. And this is good information because you want to know this not only for, especially if you're a nonprofit, but a business as well, because you have employees. And I can almost guarantee that a lot of people that have businesses, you have employees that probably take the bus to get to work.
Absolutely. A lot of people that are getting back into the workforce or first-time employees, they don't always own an automobile, or they can't afford the insurance for a car, or the price of gas that continues to fluctuate. Mm-hmm. Mostly it goes higher, then it drops, then it goes back up. So we do have a number of programs in place, and I'll have Andrew mention some of those in just a minute, but I'd like to start off by talking about what we offer to nonprofit organizations. Right before COVID hit, back in late 2019, our Board of Trustees saw the need for us to be able to provide some type of fare to nonprofits who are working with individuals in the community who more than likely may not own an automobile but need to get to the services that the nonprofit agencies offer. So what they asked us to do is to put together a program. It's called our Fare Assistance Program for nonprofit organizations. They give us a call, they sign up with us to access the program, and they're allowed to buy fare at a 25% discount. So they can then use the fare that they purchase to help get people to their services. So a lot of organizations that are nonprofit that provide for healthcare needs or job interviews or some type of service that they need to get to, they can buy those the bus fare from us at 25% discount. It could be day passes, monthly passes, tickets for any of the different services that we offer. We will sell to them at a 25% discount, and then they in turn can share that with the individuals that they want to get to these services. You know, it started with one organization who was helping the homeless, and they wanted to get people off the street and someplace where they could spend the night, but they didn't have a way of getting there. And so these tickets are now available, the one-day passes that they can use, and they give them out and give them to those people that need to get off the street and into a warm climate, a setting where they can spend the night, a place to get food, or a place to get some kind of health care.
Right, and it's so important because, again, like you said, not everybody has transportation.
Exactly.
And a lot of times that's the deterrent, right? That's like, well, I can't get there because I don't have a car, or I don't know how to be able to get there. And sometimes you lose opportunities because it's like, well,
Right.
It's a really good job, but if you can't get here, how's that going to work, right? It's very important that we have this transportation, and I can attest to that because it's really, I mean, for me, it's very convenient. I like the timing, especially, you know, like every 15 minutes the bus is coming, especially with the Primo.
Right.
And I'm glad for that because I'm like, oh, I don't have to be waiting an hour or 30 minutes. And it's very convenient. So if anybody is maybe even thinking about, especially the way the situation is with everything that's going on, to be able to consider, you know, riding the Via Metro.
Right. And we also, you know, I talked about nonprofit agencies and what we can do for them. But Andrew, why don't you share a little bit about the programs that we have for employers who are trying to recruit employees, and the employees or the candidates say, I'd love to come work here, but I don't have a car, I can't pay for parking, I don't have a way to get to work. So why don't you share a little bit of that?
Absolutely. So the program that VIA offers for local employers is called VIAWorks. Essentially, it's a rideshare program for folks that it's meant for folks that are commuting to and from work, where we're able to provide not only monthly passes for their employees, but also annual passes as well. So year-round, also a 12-month rolling is an option as well. But we also offer not just those programs within San Antonio. We also have a program that not a lot of people are aware of. It's called Van Pool. The VIA Van Pool is a shared commute for groups of 5 to 15 employees that can actually travel 100 miles outside of San Antonio as well.
Right.
It's a partnership that we have with Commute with Enterprise. But if the rideshare starts, if the commute starts either 100 miles outside and comes into the VIA service area, or it starts in the VIA service area and goes 100 miles out, we can provide transportation. So we have groups that travel every single workday to Austin, Three Rivers, Cotulla. There's a lot of options, and it's a great recruiting and tool to help expand the area that you can actually start recruiting good talent from, but also to retain, because we know for a fact a lot of people can't get jobs because, as Priscilla mentioned, transportation is not an option for them. Well, here you have an option to not only, or employers, I should say, are able to not only bring in good talent, but keep good talent. And 100 miles outside of San Antonio, that's a huge range that they're now able to use. And it's thanks to, in part, the VIA programs and our partnerships.
Right. And I know you had mentioned that before, and I'm like, again, that's what I'm saying, that a lot of times we don't know about these things. And it's very important that we get this information out, because a lot of people, like I said, that may be the deterrent, say, well, they may be, like I think you said, you covered New Braunfels, possibly, okay?
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
And so it's like you have a factory there, they probably have a really good paying job and everything, but it's like I can't get there.
Exactly.
That's why it's important that you know about this information, because it is going to be an advantage to you. And not only that, it's a great way to be able to go green, right? Even
Right.
if you have a car, sometimes it's like, I don't want to have to deal, especially with 35 traffic,
Right.
to have to deal with the traffic and all that, and wear and tear on your car and the insurance and all that. So that
Right.
taps into what you're making, right? But with with something like this, you're able to kind of, your budget is going to love you for that, because you don't have to be putting just the gas alone.
Yeah. And, to localize it a little bit, there's companies in other parts of the city that want to recruit employees that live clear across town, and those individuals may not have a car to get to work. So say somebody who has a company on the northeast side of the city, but they'd like to recruit employees who live on the south side, the west side, the east side. The van pool is a really great option for them, because they'll be able to recruit in other parts of the city. They can all ride to work together, and they all ride home together. So they're not only just recruiting them to work, but they're really building a community within their little employee groups that take van pool to get to work every day. And they select their own schedule. They all ride together, and we've got people that have been van pooling with us for quite some time now, and it really becomes like a family when they're riding together like that.
Yeah, and I think the most accessible part here is that the van pool is not restricted to the VIA bus service hours or operation. It is 24/7. So when you're talking about groups that are working overnight and second shift, third shift, whatever the case, where we can't, employers are struggling to bring in folks. You have this opportunity that 24/7 accessibility. Now there's no nothing preventing you from bringing in good talent.
Right.
That's a pretty cool opportunity, I would say.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and that's what I'm saying. It's there. I mean, take advantage of it, because again, you all are providing that, right? And that's why we're here, to be able to get the word out. Maybe they're not using it as much as they could be using it, so we want to be able to put it out there and let you know that if maybe you had an opportunity to a really great paying job somewhere, but because of the lack of transportation, I mean, there are options now. If maybe they would want to get more information, where could they contact you, or where can they reach out to maybe find some of these services that you're offering?
You want to go ahead and share your contact information for van pool and the employer programs that we offer?
So they can definitely, an organization that's interested, they can always go on our website, which is viainfo.net /VIAWorks. That's the name of, that's the page that will take them directly for information about the VIAWorks program. Within that page, there's also a submission form where they can actually submit for additional information. We can set up meetings, whether in person, virtual. They can also contact me directly at 210-362-2380. That way, any questions can be answered before we set up a meeting, because I'm sure they have to get, their teams of leadership or groups of, involved in the conversation. But, we have so many different options, and that's the thing. If you're talking about bus service, or if you're talking about our VIA-Link, which I'm sure we're going to talk about that too, van pool, there's so many different opportunities that any organization that's hearing us, I would definitely encourage you to reach out to VIA for more information about these programs.
And one thing I will also add is that riding the bus is easy. It's not as complicated as one might think. And so anybody who is interested in riding, thinks they want to ride, but doesn't know what routes run near their neighborhood or what routes will get them to their destinations, they can give us a call at 362-2020. We have a great team of customer information operators who are on the call, and they can really walk you through any questions you might have. They can help you with trip planning as well, and help you chart your travel as you navigate the system to get to where you need to go. Another service that we started, when did we start VIA-Link? About 2 years ago now?
Yeah,
it's been about 2 years in operation. We have a service that operates very much like Uber and Lyft. But the great thing about it, it's only $1.30 one way.
I know Andrew was telling me about that, and I'm like, okay, is that for real? Or
yes, it is for real.
I wouldn't lie to you.
Yeah, tell them a little bit about how VIA-Link works.
Well, the first thing I want to mention is the VIA-Link is only available in 3 parts of San Antonio.
Right.
VIA-Link is available in the Northeast, the Northwest, and this past year we introduced it into the South Zone. So the VIA-Link service, much like an Uber or Lyft, it's a on-demand service where in those areas we don't have, or we have very limited bus service. And the reason being is just ridership did not warrant
having a route.
Right. However, now with the VIA-Link, a person can actually, they can either call in or they can actually book it on their phone, where it will pick them up at a virtual stop. A virtual stop being there's not going to be signage, to pick you up at the corner of A and B. And then if you're traveling within that zone, that vehicle is going to take you directly to the nearest virtual stop at your destination. In the South Zone, for example, there's 200 virtual stops covering a 12-mile radius. So, rather than waiting for a bus, you're able to book it. Typically, you're talking about a 10 to 20-minute wait, and then that vehicle is going to be able to take you. Now, if you're traveling outside of that zone, and this is important to mention, if you're traveling outside of the zone, that vehicle will take you to the appropriate bus stop, and you can catch the bus from there.
Okay.
Or the transit center. For example, the South, it'll take you to the Madla Center, and then you can travel. Now, that cost is no additional. A regular one-way trip on VIA is $1.30, and it's still $1.30 whether you're transferring on one vehicle to another. We don't charge for transfers at all. So $1.30 to get to your destination is I think we can all agree that's pretty affordable compared to the Ubers and Lyfts in the world.
Right, exactly. And so my understanding is it's not actually picking you up from address to address, correct?
Correct.
Right.
Yeah, you'll have like certain designated
Right.
areas where you have to wait for for them to pick you up.
Precisely. And I'll give you a perfect story. I live on the northeast side, and my daughter rides VIA every single day. My son does too. And it used to be that the bus stop was about 2 blocks. They'd have to walk to go to the bus if needed. But now with the VIA-Link, it actually picks them up right outside of our gate. So that's how close and convenient it is. And again, 10 to 20 minutes on demand, that's pretty great. The VIA-Link vehicles comfortably sit about 3 people. You can request for accessibility if needed, bike rack vehicles if you need, and it's so easy. It's we try and make it as user friendly as possible.
Right. And are you planning to cover more of the areas of San Antonio other than the ones that I know the ones that you I think are in effect right now are more closer to like outside of 410 and 1604 area in those areas, if I'm correct? The coverage that you have right now?
Yes, so we're going to be adding more. Over the next few years, we'll gradually be adding in new VIA-Link zones. And so we ask your listeners to just stay in touch with us. The website's the easiest way to do that, to get updates on when we're adding these new links. But the ones that we have added recently are working really well. The one on the South Side zone is being used heavily by Texas A&M students out there. The UTSA students are using the one on the Northwest side in that zone. And then we've also got the inaugural route, which was over on the Northeast side. People are using it, and they don't have to use it just to go to work or to go to school. People are using it to get their groceries. People that are taking this service to go to doctor's appointments. They're using it to go visit friends. I mean, you would take that service to any other destination you would go to if you were using our regular mainline service.
Correct.
Yeah.
The South Zone, interestingly enough, actually goes on to the Toyota campus.
Yes.
So that is an amazing opportunity for folks that are seeking jobs to Toyota or the existing, not only Toyota but their suppliers on site. So there are actually virtual stops on the campus itself.
Yeah, that's like a little city there now that's kind of, it
Sure.
just continues to grow.
Sure.
But, again, these are things that if you're not aware of, that maybe you may consider wanting to even try out. I can tell you firsthand using it. I mean, I've been a rider since I was in high school.
Oh, wow.
And the thing back then is because I don't want to admit this on the radio, but I was playing hooky. And, I would go downtown because everything was downtown at that
Right.
time, go to the movies or something. But I remember that was a form of transportation. I mean, you couldn't drive, so it was like picking it up like a block, actually like a
Exactly.
block or two from my house, dropping me all the way downtown. So it's a great thing, and I love the fact that it's been advancing. And there's so many things now that back then weren't available, like you were talking about trying to figure out what route or anything. you have internet, I always do this. I'll go and type in the address, and I'll type in the pickup or where I'm going, and it gives you a couple of options of what buses you can take and the route that it'll take. So, I mean, that's perfect planning to be able to have that available, that you can plan your trip.
Yeah, and customers that don't have access to internet at home or don't have a printer where they can print out the maps, they can go to any of our ticket windows at our parking rides and get those pocket schedules that are printed there. They can take one off the rack, or if they can't get to a transit center, they'd really like a pocket schedule, they can call us at 362-2020 and talk to one of our team members and ask if we can mail them some pocket schedules, and we'll be happy to do that.
Okay.
We're really keep ourselves open to assisting our customers as best we can, and also future customers, to make it as easy on them as possible to ride. So there's all kinds of ways to contact with us to get what you need from us. And if you really, a lot of people still feel more comfortable talking to someone to walk them through the process, especially if they're new-time riders. So they can just give us a call at 362-2020, and we'll be happy to assist them with anything they may need for themselves or a family member.
Right. And again, believe me, I'm not saying this just because, you're not paying me. But it is very convenient. I like it. We have one vehicle, but my wife uses it because she takes care of her mom. And, have to go here. I said, you go do what you got. I don't like to be rushing, and I don't want to keep you rushing or waiting. I like this because you were talking about earlier, I get on my pad and check the email or do whatever I need to do, and I can't do that if I'm in a car.
And you bring up a good point. All of our buses have Wi-Fi capabilities. So you're right. When you're traveling, if you have a mobile device, an iPad, and you've got work to do, you want to check your emails, you can do that while you're riding and not have to worry about the traffic or red lights, that kind of thing.
Exactly. Real quick, before we're getting close to the end of our program, but the Let's Have Lunch program that you're having?
Yes, exactly.
Coming up.
Do you want to? I'll just say this really quickly. We started this during COVID as a means to reaching out to the community, and it's worked really great for us. And so, why don't you quickly tell them about the ones we have coming up?
Absolutely. So, on March 1st, we are hosting a Lunch and Learn online webinar session for nonprofits and agencies who are interested in some of these programs. And I want to stress, it's not for the general public, but for these organizations. It's a virtual event. It's only at 30 minutes. But if any organizations listening are interested, they can contact our admin, Kim, at 210-362-2041, or email her at kim.munoz@viainfo.net. And again, it's only 30 minutes. It's all virtual, so you can listen in from home in your pajamas or
that's a good part.
Whatever the case may be.
And again, we'll have that on our Facebook as well. We'll put that information on there if you want to go and in case you miss it or you're driving. But we're at the end of our program. Thank you again so much for coming.
Thank you.
And we will be back again here next week. Take care and God bless.
Thank you.